Hey everyone, it's Stephanie and
Edmund Lee out here in these streets, these quarantine streets still. That's why I got my hat on before we get started. Gotta let you know, I'm repping Detroit Lions. I know, don't comment about them. I'm from Detroit, I'm loyal.
it's tough.
But we about that life today. It's a draft day. I know y'all don't even care. But anyway, got the hair on because if I take this off, I look like the last abolitionist. I look like W.B. Du Bois, like lost cousin.
God.
I got freedom papers for sale.
You know what's funny though? Like everybody clowns women struggling during this time, but I find a lot of men are missing their barbers just as much as we are missing our.
Very much. I almost thought about cutting it myself or letting you cut it, but
Hey, whatever. I don't know. We could try.
I mean, look at me. I got like an Easy E look going on. I
By
got
the
a
time
Jerry
you get
curl
back on,
coming out.
it'll grow out anyway. So we could try it.
Straight out of Compton. That's what I look like.
All right. Well, welcome to the review of Married at First Sight, season 10. The reunion. Okay. So let's just get into it. We're not going to do any type of formal going through all the couples. Last night was the messiest reunion I have ever seen for this series.
What makes it messy?
Messy was, everybody knows what messy is. It's like catty and it's almost like, you know what? The Housewives franchise has been pushed back because of the pandemic and filming, and so certain seasons are pushed back, and it was almost like there is room for a little extra messiness, a little extra drama, so let's give it to them. First of all, I love Kevin as a host. He's the best host that they've had.
Except for one point, but we'll get to
Yeah,
that.
but Kevin plays no games, and I like him as a host because the other ones weren't as interesting, and Kevin's like real, okay? You know what I'm talking about. He's just real, straight to the point. He will push, he could push some more than others, but he will push where other hosts, I can't even remember the other hosts from other seasons, but it was so bland. Kevin gives us some flavor, so I like him. I like him hosting, but let's just jump into it.
You want to go through the couples, or how you going to do it?
Yeah, I guess we can. I mean, I said we weren't, but
Oh.
That's
snap.
pregnancy
My bad.
brain. I have no rhyme or reason right now. Your girl is not as sharp as she used to be.
I didn't even hear you say that.
I know.
I tune out most of what you say
All
now.
right.
So. I mean, abuse. I'm filing it clean. I'm getting a restraining order on you,
That
just
was
like Brandon did.
That was the baby. Well, let's kick it off with Taylor and Brandon.
Taylor and Taylor.
Okay. Taylor and Brandon. Okay, so this is what I was saying a few times throughout the season, that we can't tell people to stay together just because we think they need to just stick it out because they're married. Yes, in regular life, that's different. In this experiment, we have to be mindful that these people really don't know each other. Okay, so safety first. We have a couple who at this point has gotten themselves in some altercation to where they now both have restraining orders on each other. They had to go to court. They had to involve the other cast members. Like that's real life. And that's what we sat there watching last night. Like, this is real life. Like, this is really happening. They have legal paperwork against each other, and that's something to be mindful of. The whole story about what happened and how they got to it, I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we will know because we weren't there. I don't think that Taylor lacks integrity to me. Taylor lacks accountability. First of all, Taylor over-explained. And if you want a clue of, when somebody's lying, when they give you way more than is necessary, they're like trying to make sure that the story sticks. She gave so much information. I didn't buy it. She doesn't.
A lot of times they're creating in there while they're talking.
Right, and Brandon wasn't there, but Brandon is a loose cannon anyways. I don't put anything past him. I don't put anything past her. But what I know is we didn't get 100% of the story. There's always his side, her side, and the truth. And we got her side last night, and that's it. I'm glad they're not together because look at how volatile it would have gotten. And if anybody really watched this episode, this season, none of us should be surprised. But I think it's sad that they've gotten to a point where they've had to involve the law, because people can get really dangerous. It's not something to play with. So it's sad, but I hope that they can just close this chapter and move on.
Could you imagine them dating or something like that and they got pregnant?
Oh my God.
People deal with that. And now you wonder why some of these baby mama, baby daddy dramas be so crazy, is because you deal and you stuck at that point. You can't separate and split ways. But anyway, with this situation, I'm gonna just bullet off on this one. Taylor is so like she always plants herself as the victim, and I just don't like it. I don't really care about it. I mean, I don't know what happened in that situation, but she just never gives any responsibility in any story. And then number two, I don't like how he didn't press her. He pressed everybody else. This video, like I think he should have went like a lawyer. Like, let me ask you this: if you're in a relationship, if you're married, and you say that you're single publicly, is that good or bad? And if she just said no, it's like your narcissism is just on a whole nother level that you're not even on planet Earth. Like it just I don't think anybody in the world understands that agrees with her not that video not being disrespectful. Like period.
Agreed.
So that's number one.
Agreed.
Except for her friends. Choose your friends wisely. That thing was going to come up several times in this actual video. That's what Taylor. She chose friends that are just going to support her in her little story. So
except
that's
for Meka. I love that Meka held her accountable and said, listen, if Michael made that video, I would have a problem with that.
Right. Well, those she didn't choose that friend.
Oh yeah, no.
I'm talking about the friend, the support system she has.
Yeah.
Like what I said.
Yeah.
A couple videos ago, it's trash.
Yeah, they are.
It's been trash. It's gonna stay trash. But anyway, Michael. Let me get to that part. Well, the Michael part of Brandon. I'm not on Michael yet. I'm on the Michael part of Brandon's conversation. Okay, that was just terrible. So let me just say why that was terrible. Number one, choose your friends wisely. Again, they connect because they both blame and they both have these situations. A true friend is going to cut it to you straight and tell you when you're wrong. Okay? Like friends that aren't really good friends, they will let you be the way you are. Friends that love you, friends that want the most for you, love you too much to leave you the way you are. You know, they'll call you out and call you up to like, look, bro, you need to own up to XYZ. And also needs to not just support bad behavior.
Right.
You know, it's enabling. And I think they even said that on the show. It's like you're enabling your friend to be a jerk and be disrespectful out of friendship. And that's not real. Now, I will agree that if I was in Michael's shoes, I would not have blasted my guy on TV because it's not that point. I would have just said, hey, look, and guys and whoever, guys and gals, ladies, whatever, that whole walking off and dealing with stuff is so immature, so victimhood. If somebody's coming at me or coming at you some way, even if you're on TV, hey, Playboy, look, I'm not going to talk about Brandon. Let's just cut it. Like, that's it. Go on to the next. Do I have to repeat myself? No. Cool. Let's rock.
Set a boundary.
That's it.
Set a boundary. And with that, we can roll into Michael and Meka, because here's my thing. I was watching last night. The way that Michael deals with stuff is detrimental to any type of relationship. He wouldn't have made it with another girl who wasn't Meka. I think we have given Meka way too much responsibility for Michael. Yeah, Meka needs to sharpen.
Grown man.
Yeah, Meka needs to round her edges. That's a characteristic that she will have in any relationship. Something she needs to work on, and something she said, okay, looking back, I'm like, I could have been a little more softer, a little more caring. That's probably just what has worked for her in the past, and it doesn't work for her in relationships, but it serves her elsewhere. But Meka is not responsible for his vulnerability. She's not responsible for making him stick around. She's not responsible for fixing his issues. And a lot of people have made her accountable for that and say, okay, because she's mean or she's not vulnerable, that it almost like allows him to do what he does and be the way he is. Prime example, as you were saying, he could have set that boundary. Listen, I'm not going to answer questions about Brandon. I'm not Brandon. I'm not here. I'm not his lawyer. The end. He gets up and walks away. He purses those lips. The moment he purses those lips, that's it for the conversation. He shuts down. We've seen it time and time again. He gets up and he walks away. That's what he did in the relationship that we saw throughout the season.
So he did all his jobs?
Well, you can't walk away from a job if you didn't have one. So, but you know,
that's Tommy's lost son.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy from Martin. That's, you know, it's just like he does not deal with things efficiently, and we see him even in group settings, like when after decision day they all got together at that restaurant. We didn't see Michael doing anything but drinking a drink like a sourpuss when everybody else was kind of having a good time. Here he is sitting here, very shut down, very annoyed, like he doesn't want to be there. I mean, he may have not wanted to be there, but listen, 4 of the 5 couples did not work out. Yet and still, they were all able to find something that they got. If Mindy could find something that they got out of it, then why can't you? You know, he has a lot of things he needs to work on. The more I watch him, his mannerisms, his affect, that's not pleasing. The same way that Meka's affect and her presentation is not appealing sometimes. This is the same way that Michael's is not appealing to, especially as a man, as a leader of a home. Depending on what your preference is, you may want something that's a little more alpha. He's not going to give you that. And shutting down and having, that was one of her issues that she said. He always shuts down and he walks away, and she has to kind of wait for him to come back and have a conversation. Even being accountable last night, like Kevin had to kind of hone in and say, can you be accountable that, or can you apologize to her for those things that happened? She came out and said, listen, looking back, it was like, I didn't really like the way that I looked, and there's some things I could do better. We don't hear Michael come out the gate with that. We hear a lot of Zach 2.0 talking in circles, justifying, validating bad behavior, and then he eventually is like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have been able to. What are you saying?
He just wants to look good, saying the right thing. I don't buy it. Like,
yeah, it was. I don't know. It was tough to watch them. It really was. I'm glad that they aren't together either. This is not ideal. This is not. We all want Jessica and Austin. Like, in watching these shows, speaking for myself, like, I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm excited for love, so I want to see that. But, I also don't want to see two train wrecks stay together just for the sake of them staying together. That is not a healthy long-term relationship. You can't build a marriage off of that. And God forbid you don't want to bring children into that and set the tone for something that at the very beginning had very significant red flags. Yeah. So,
the bottom line is, I think people have to realize that they have these inner things going on in their head, and if they don't change those things, they'll take the same things to the next relationship. So if Michael doesn't get it that, hey, I got it that I'm a victim, I got it that, I'm not good enough and I have to lie or have to be somebody else, he's going to be somebody else with somebody else, and that's just going to continue. And I think what I like about Meka is that she's like, I need to work on that. So the awareness is there, and I think it's genuine, because she's not only just saying her word, she's like, you got to keep your word, but you got to honor it at the same time. And what that means is, if you say you're going to do something, or you say you're going to be a certain way, then be it. Then if you're not, you honor it by saying, hey, I wasn't that way. Let me acknowledge it and let me do something about it. He doesn't honor it. He's like, oh, I'm going to do this. He doesn't do it. And he just says, oh, I should have did it.
Right.
So that's what, 2 couples?
That's, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Okay. So do we want to take a break, like a love break, and just jump into Jess and Austin?
Sure, why not? Get a sandwich.
Jess and Austin are still together. No surprise there.
Awesome. He went to work. She worked it out, figured it out. It's all good.
Yeah, they're sweet. I'm happy for them. I really am. Like,
they're going to have some kids. I would give it 2 years.
Yeah, they say that they're going to wait, but I think they're going to.
Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it quickly.
This quarantine,
I know.
They probably going to have that thing soon as November hit. Baby.
There are a lot of quarantine babies on the way. I believe that. I really, Jess and Austin, they're not the most exciting of couples, like in terms of just personality even. But like in terms, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It's just, they're not,
I know.
But I loved watching them do what this was designed to do, and it's beautiful to see some of the past couples that are still together and, bringing a family together and creating these lives together. It's exactly what it was designed to do. And I think because this season was such a cesspool of shenanigans, they even like blossom even more. Like, they're just such a breath of fresh air, and I'm happy. It was beautiful that he gave her that engagement ring, and I love seeing that, because with this experiment, they don't get that. They get the band. Cool. So I like seeing him really just like give her that ring and that stick, because every woman wants it. Most women want that. I won't say every single one, but most women want that. And it was just so sweet, and that's I could pull out my cello and play for them. They're deserving of that, especially being around people who were counterproductive to healthy relationships, and almost with their energy like I don't know. I don't want to say people were jealous of them, but you got that vibe a little through the season that they never had anything overly dramatic, and so they almost felt bad about basking in what's so great. And don't feel the need to do that. You know, if I could say something about Jessica and Austin, is like sometimes when you are doing really well and people around you are not, or your close friends are not, then you want to say, yeah, no, I get it too. Yeah, my husband gets on my nerves too. And it's like, I've talked to a lot of people who are like, oh, quarantine is like killing certain couples, and be that as it may, like that's not our thing. We're used to spending a lot of time together. Like we get on each other's nerves just the same, but not even that much. Like we enjoy each other. That my story's not going to change because that's not the story of someone else.
Yeah.
So be mindful of, like, you know, honoring your relationship, whatever state that it is, and not apologizing if you're in a good state of mind, whether that's a relationship or financially or doing really well in life or health wise. Like, you know, you can sympathize with people, but don't apologize for all the good things going on.
But I think, I mean, in our case though too, I think it's because we've done a lot of work mentally, and we know how to give each other space. We know not to make more of it what it is.
Right.
And, you know, I think we've done a lot of that. So, but also, again, choosing your friends wisely. I think that they are going to need to find couples that are having fun, that are enjoying themselves, because energetically, jealousy is you can't fake it. You know, that energy of, oh, that's great, and you can feel like they're like, you know, they like, my stuff is terrible, and I don't even. It's like happy, but for them on the surface, but down inside, you're like, man, my relationship sucks.
Yeah.
And so they need somebody that can be through and through, and usually you could be stuck with that if it's somebody that your family or something, and their marriage is, or their relationship sucks, then you just got to be a support system. But you have to watch that, because it will get them to be dumbed down and not joyous about themselves. It's just like when people have great lives or feel good about themselves, they hang around people that don't. They just dumb down their sun, their light, and I don't think that is what should be done. So that's them. We can go to who's next.
Justin, Austin, Mindy and Zach. You know, okay, Zach reaching out to Katie, because I want to save Katie and Derek for last. Zach reaching out to Katie to have drinks. You know, Zach is all types of inappropriate.
He said I was just totally checked out. Like,
Zach is, I don't have any words for Zach.
That's just disrespectful.
You know, Mindy dodged a bullet. True indeed, the bullet never left the gun, because he never checked in. I love that Kevin said, you never checked in to the marriage.
Yeah, he said I didn't check out. He's like, you never checked in?
Yeah, you never checked in. Like, Zach to me is a joke in this whole experiment. Mindy seems stronger and more self-aware, self-assured. She really got the short end of the stick, really. She didn't even get a stick in this experiment, because he just never, beyond day one, by the honeymoon, they had been at odds in terms of what he wanted and what he was telling her, and it was just really sad to see. But then reaching out to Lindsay, and even lying still, because have you spoken to her since XYZ? No. And then she's
after he was like,
anniversary dinner?
Oh, anniversary
dinner.
dinner.
Or decision day dinner or something?
They had the decision day dinner.
And then here's the thing, I texted her, but she never responded. Why are you texting her?
I texted a different client.
And then the different...
Come on, man.
Zach, don't make me use 4-letter words, Zach. I don't have much to say about him. I wish Mindy well. I mean, I wish him well as a human, but I really wish Mindy well, because she's really deserving of that. I wish he would have just said at the beginning, and we talked about this last night, I'm not attracted to her. She's a really sweet girl, but I don't want to get in the way of whatever, or I don't want to hurt her throughout this whole process. But he did exactly that.
I'm gonna tell you this. I think this is what happened with Zach. I think he came in this thing thinking that he could find a wife. He was dealing with all these maybe superficial surface level stuff, and maybe he could find somebody that's attractive, but also has more going on that he could find that's not in his circles.
Right.
And that it wouldn't be bad for his career. I'm gonna put it that way when he came in. And I think when he got in, he was like, you know what? Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I need to learn something about myself. I really think he kind of felt that the first couple of days. And then he just got to a point maybe within the first week where he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna ride this thing out. I'm gonna get these followers. I'm gonna get clients, or I'm gonna get the attention. I'm gonna get whatever it is. Or I don't know if they get checks per episode. I don't know how that works. But, depending on your financial situation, a fitness trainer, he might be making it good, might not. He might be like, look, I might as well ride this thing out, which I think at a certain point, that is wrong. You know, at the first point where you're like, maybe I don't know myself. I don't know if
let me do something different.
let me see. If you get to a point like, you know what, I'm not going to move in, or I'm not even going to give it the effort, then you just got to cut it at 7 days or 8 days and just say, look, the money's not worth me hurting somebody else in that way, you know, or the attention's not worth me doing that. And actually would have been better off hurting her up front, quote unquote, and getting it over with. And then, because I mean,
and she wouldn't have built, she would have been hurt superficially because, you know, someone saying I'm not attracted to you is like, it is hurtful, but she wouldn't have been hurt beyond that because she wouldn't have built a connection with him, you know.
And
so
she
like,
every episode we would just be like, oh, because she's like, well, he said hello and maybe we'll work it out. I'm like,
he's calling me. He called me now. He's never called me before.
He brought a book back, so now he's gonna be my friend to the end. I was just like, dang, man, that's bogus.
Yeah,
but anyway,
but she looks vibrant.
What about her friend
happy.
though? Her friend to the end.
Lindsay?
Yeah, and she brought the other friend out to just because she was like, I have proof that they were trying to hang out. Was it hang out again or sleep together? What was it? Visit, I think.
Yeah, a visit.
And he's like, no, it never happened.
You know, I mean, it's just more of the same. You know, the moment that bombshell came out, we knew that there was more going on than we would have known, and more than should have ever gone on. And I blame Lindsay the most because Lindsay actually reached out to him first and kicked out that conversation, and that's just not your place. Close friend and all, reaching out to somebody's husband, even with concern, like, unless she's in the hospital or something's going on where you can't talk to her, that's so out of line. That's, you know.
And here's the thing. You just cut your losses. I will tell you this. As a man, if you deal with a guy where oblivion is his number one go-to, then you just need to be done. And what I mean by that is if he acts, oblivious, she just was reaching out. We were just, you know, having conversation, you know, trying to learn about, like, acting like you don't know what's right and wrong, Taylor and Zach, there's no correcting that. Like, if you don't feel like being late is wrong, that person's always going to be late. It's the same thing, and he doesn't know that he shouldn't go out with Katie. Are you serious? Like, if you don't tell your girl, like, hey, Katie's struggling, maybe we should go out and have drinks with her because she's dealing with some stuff. But that whole 101
he never thought of we, though. He thought of I, so he operated the way he was
thought that.
Yeah. Well, let's go to our last couple. I don't know if you guys know, but I speak a couple of languages. I speak English. I speak French Creole.
I speak Ebonics.
I speak some French. And I also speak...
Hablo español un poquito.
Yeah, some Spanish. And my word of the day is basura. What does basura mean? It means trash or garbage. And that is how I would like to kick off talking about Katie.
Oh my God.
Katie is basura or the garbage.
Is that Creole? Is that Creole or Spanish?
Basura is Spanish.
What is it in Creole?
Fatra.
Oh, wow,
Either way, it means trash. Either way, it means trash. Okay. You know,
that's my word.
I really tried not to go all the way in on her, but she really pissed me off last night, and she showed her true colors. Katie.
He was like, showed his. Remember when he said that? Yeah. That's what she did.
Yeah,
showed
Katie.
His
Katie really, she's so disrespectful. And we knew this would all happen. I said, you know, I was hoping that I would feel bad for him if he stuck it out, but I knew it wouldn't last long. You know, long story short, she ended up having an affair with her ex. The ex that she, as she was walking down the aisle, was contemplating. And, you know, she's just completely disrespectful. Based on the reunion, they were struggling 2 weeks after decision day. Where she said, after they signed a 1-year lease, where she said, you know, let's try to be friends. And he said, let's, you know, I guess build a friendship. Let's remain open, though. They're still living together. Not until a couple of weeks later did they decide that this was not going to work. So a month time. Regardless of had they had that conversation a month later, you're still married. And this is a month after you decide to continue to be together. Yet 2 weeks into it, you go sleep with this ex. And she was very nonchalant, very lax.
It was just physical? It was like,
yeah, it was just physical. It wasn't anything like that. We just slept together. Katie is a garden tool. I'm going to leave it at that.
A rake?
Because somebody, you know, we're quarantined home now, so people might be watching with their kids.
Talking about a shovel?
She's a garden tool.
A rake?
No.
A sprinkler?
She rhymes with the word Mo.
A Joe.
I'm not gonna. Okay.
A Joe Blow.
Okay. That really upset me because it's just so disrespectful. And and this is not. If anybody would have done it, if anybody, man or woman, would have done it, it was so disrespectful. It was so validating. There's no accountability. She was even saying at the end, how she doesn't even think it was cheating because they already said they were friends. You are still married, okay? There's no excuse for that. And finding out that they had dinner a week before so that she can kind of lay I believe Derek 100%. I don't believe her at all.
Yeah, she didn't want to look bad on TV.
Yeah, her presentation was very arrogant and very prepared. And he just told the truth. And he really wanted to try. And for them to meet so that she can kind of say, we don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. And you don't have to talk about it. But you could have came on the show and said, hey, I'm not talking about this. If Derek wants to talk about it, he can. But you have to decide that he can't talk about it either so that you can't look the way that you are. I don't have many words for her, but I cannot stand her. I really can't. And I struggled with that throughout the season. But I was hopeful because at the beginning, they had such good chemistry that it was working out. Now, if you felt like, listen, this is not the person for me, this seems good and it might be different, but this is not the person for me, because eventually she just said it. I know what it's like to be in love. It doesn't feel right. Okay, I'll give her that. Maybe it didn't feel right. Maybe we just saw a really good guy in Derek and we wanted to work out for her because it hasn't been, and we wanted her to try something different. And maybe he's not for her. I mean, he isn't at this point. And honestly, he's way better off, and he's too good for her, the type of person that she is.
I'm gonna make a prediction.
But
oh, you wasn't finished.
No.
Uh-oh.
But now pregnancy brain is taking over. I don't remember what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, I'll give her that it didn't work out, but that's what I was gonna say. The way that she went about it was so disrespectful, and to make excuses means that whatever's convenient for you is what you're gonna do. That's not what marriage is about. You make vows, you make commitments, there are boundaries, there are yeses and nos, there are appropriate and not appropriate, and you don't get to decide based on which way the wind blows what you're gonna do and what you're gonna stick to. So, I don't know. Good luck to the next dummy who gets with her. Because unless she changes and goes through some real growth and accountability, then this spoiled brat of a person that she is will continue to be. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I toss my flag on her.
I'm just gonna say I predict that Derek gets engaged within a year to another woman, or gets in a serious relationship within a year.
I think so.
I'm gonna see that. It's gonna be on Instagram.
I can see him.
Because he's a good dude. He's a good dude. It just need to be the right connection, and voila.
And you know what else? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just
tell him how you feel.
You know what else? Get up.
Tell him how you feel.
You know what else? When Kevin was interviewing the two of them, and and Derek wasn't perfect in the marriage, especially afterwards. She said he went back to kind of doing his own thing and feeling very isolated.
That was bad.
Kevin says, okay, I don't know what he asked Derek, but Derek had a list of things that he did, tangible, quantifiable things that he did to show his efforts. And she didn't do a thing, okay? He asked her, well, what did you do? And I'm so glad that he circled back and asked her that question. He said, Derek just said all the things that he did to make the marriage work. What did you do? And she says, well, I had really tough conversations. And he even circled back and said, no, but what did you do? Like, what things did you do? I had tough I
initiated. I basically started yapping.
Initiated tough conversations. What else did she say? Something else. First of all, her answering the question was uncomfortable. Yeah, she couldn't really answer the question.
She stood there or something, even when he wasn't. Like, it was all about him and how he acts. She didn't do anything.
And that's Katie's story. We saw the whole season where Derek caters to Katie. Derek does this stuff.
I'm glad that he left. He was going to have a miserable life. Man.
Yeah, and we knew that. That's what I said. That's why I was like, they'll probably stay together, but
she doesn't even see it. And that's the crazy part is like a lot of people don't see their own whatever, and why they're still single, why they're having issues, is because you might be the issue. And
absolutely.
And you might need to check yourself and look in the mirror and say, what could I be working on? Not, Everybody that I've dated is wrong. Everybody's bad. Not, and you have nothing you can work on.
Even
We
her-
all have stuff we can work on.
Even her verbiage with, well, he's not proving to me that.
He can win me over.
Yeah, like she said that so many times during the season. She even said it last night at the reunion. He wasn't proving to me that. So it's always about him proving to her. It's not a reciprocal thing.
No.
And she holds on to the fact he hasn't been in love and all this stuff. Like, none of that matters. If he likes you and you guys worked on it, then y'all will get there. You know, y'all will get there, but it's not about him doing certain things to make you comfortable. If you're insecure,
That
then
was
you're
gonna happen
insecure.
for the rest of his life.
For sure.
It would have never ended.
For sure. It's why he can't write a Christmas song, because the Christmas song is more important than her, because she is uncomfortable with herself. So everything goes back to her level of insecurity. Now, there are things that your spouse can do to make you insecure or more secure. So in some ways, it can be your spouse's responsibility to make you secure. But for her, coming in the game, she came in insecure. So all of her insecurities fell on him to be responsible for, which is not fair. So
He's gonna make one this year called Ho Ho Ho.
Stop
That's
it.
the name. Inspired by, I don't know where he gets inspiration from.
Oh my God.
But anywho, one thing I do want to talk about before we get off of this is the conversation that Michael and what's his name?
Kevin?
Yeah, what they had in the room. Just to give a little bit of light on that, being a black man, and they had the conversation where they were kind of hashing it out. Like, Michael could have did that at the beginning with just saying, "Hey, I don't want to talk about Brandon." But here's the thing that was happening there. When Michael said, "Hey, I'm black," he's like, "I'm black too." You know, he made it a racial thing. That's the quickest way to try to kill somebody's career. Like, you can't make things racial when it's not. It's just about being a man, manning up, and like he said, he showed his behind. It had nothing to do with a black man coming for another black man, and you don't have to defend somebody of your race, of your friendship. People do this all the time when they're wrong. People do this when they're on the same police force, when they're on whatever. They will hide behind this brotherhood. Fraternities, I've seen it happen even in my fraternity. People don't need to do that. You need to let people stand, and if you want to stay out of it, stay out of it. But don't defend something that's bad behavior just because of you're white, you're black, you're whatever. Like, no, it's not about that. It's like, hey, he hung himself out to dry on the show by himself, white or black. And we've said the same thing about, there's a lot of people on this show that hung themselves out to dry. Yeah. And it doesn't matter their race. It's just whether you, Zach, it's, you know, he sucked, but it was a different thing. The last thing is their whole restraining order, like you said. That right there is proof that you have to be careful, even when you're dating, even when you're married to somebody, or you're in a show like this, to really protect yourself mentally and emotionally, and physically, not just because you're quote unquote married. That's what divorce even came from people being in abusive relationships. And I will say this, Brandon definitely needs to get some help. He's one pissed off, drunk day from going to jail and hurting somebody or himself. And anybody that you know that might be like that definitely needs to get that handle, or somebody really beating the brakes off of them because they just don't want to deal with the sarcasm. So at the end of the day, that's that. And I think, you know, did you really talk about Taylor? Are you finished with that part of?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I am. You guys, we just want to thank you for watching this.
Oh, like and subscribe. Did we say that?
No, because we got off on that tangent about haircuts.
Oh, my Jerry curl, my soul glow. I kind of want to show it to him. No,
don't do that.
Oh, Hammer, don't hurt him. Huh?
We want to keep the subscribers. We really want to thank you guys for, you know, like I said, army crawling through this season. This was the toughest season. And even though I've been tired and things have been different lately, I do read your comments and I appreciate all the love. We appreciate all the love and support. We will be here back next season. Maybe with a new little thing to show you guys. We appreciate all you guys'
gifts as well. Yes. Some people have purchased some recently. Definitely thank you all from that.
Yes, for sure.
It helps a lot.
We don't know when the next season is coming back, but I'll probably be back doing the reviews. They might be a little more sporadic. You don't know. I don't know how your girl will be after this baby comes, but we will definitely touch base, and we love and appreciate all of you guys. So everyone stay safe and have a wonderful weekend.